So the animation today shows the three leaders just approaching the northeast corner of Brazil, just off Recife. Hugo Boss still to the east and Neutrogena, Chamonix Pujola close together slightly to the west. Hugo Boss just converging slightly, coming down towards the two boats to leeward to the west, but still close there. Gaius holding position about 140 miles behind, same kind of speeds. A Renault Captur a little bit behind and also holding the same kind of speed, slightly slower. And the two boats together just approaching the equator today. We are water and one planet, one ocean, going over this morning in the southeasterly breeze and further back now past the Cape Verde Islands, Nandor Fa and Conrad Coleman on Spirit of Hungary. So the overview shows Spirit of Hungary 500 miles to the equator and the leaders off Recife and Salvador de Bahia. So this Wednesday the 14th of January, 9 o'clock this morning, this was the ranking. Hugo Boss leading comfortably, 15 knot speed average on our speed gun. That's averaged over the 30 minutes, 15.7 over the last 24 hours and having sailed 377.6 miles. Gaius Centros Auditivus still ranked second by virtue of being closer to the most direct route, which is well to the east. Guillermo Altadil and Jose Munoz in third and Neutrogena. Hugo Boss is just converging with them very slightly today. Neutrogena making 14.8 knots, but 15.3 for Chamonix Pujola. Chamonix Pujola have pulled in about 15 miles since yesterday. Otherwise, Renault Captur pretty good. We Are Water in 6th, One Planet, One Ocean Pharmaton in 7th, and Spirit of Hungary in 8th.
On the paper, it happens to be more west. You're further away from the height, the Atlantic height. That means you're making more miles, but in long term, better wind and better angle. But it's depending on how it's high moving. It's moving east and west, and it's a little bit random movement. So we'll see if it's staying better or not in the next 2 days. By the moment, Hugo Boss is coming down, he's coming more west using his so I think in the end we will finish in the same line. So it's 80% of the time is be more west is better. Well, this boat has been launched in 2007 for the Barcelona World Race, and it was quite a new boat. It was a good boat, but very not proven enough. And the last few years have been selling for a lot of skippers selling around the globe and all the races. And the last year with Firebirds we've been selling with Alex, and has been making a great job in putting the boat ready and at 100%. And we sold the tool to be fighting with the new generation. The last 2 days after we passed the equator, the life on board has been more relaxed. The wind is more steady, and we can sleep and get more rested for the next leg, which is going to be the Southern Ocean.
Hugo Boss, Neutrogena and Chamonix Pujola converging very slightly today. The lateral separation was 80 miles yesterday. Now it's 46 miles. Hugo Boss was a little bit more bow down yesterday. Neutrogena and Chamonix Pujola actually look like they're coming up very slightly. Anyway, the leaders have really done the kind of southwesterly angle, if you like, down converging with the northeast coast of Brazil. Now it's much more, or a more southerly course. They're starting to lift progressively round the rotation of the high pressure. That's really in a while. The balance between the west and east will start to play out a little bit more in a couple of days' time, but really there's very little in it. The west, of course, there's a little bit more breeze in theory, more miles to sail, as Guillermo Altadil tells us, and the east you sail less miles and less wind. Chamonix Pujola have been quicker. Perhaps the new bow modifications are helping a little. The seas are quite big, slamming a little bit on the close reaching conditions. That's one of the reasons that the skippers have told us several times that the pilot does a better job in these conditions. Meantime, Gaius Centros Auditivos following pretty much in the wake of Hugo Boss, same line, same angles, a little bit less breeze, not quite as quick, but still doing a very good job meantime. And Renault Captur, pretty much on the same line, same angle as Hugo Boss and Gaia Centros Auditivos, also a little bit slower. I think they'll struggle a little bit more for breeze. Breeze is dropping for them. We still have about 400 miles to sail down to 30 degrees south. That's really where we'll see the northwesterly start to kick in, the northwesterly, and that's the gateway to the south, really.
Yeah, we've been making good progress. We're pretty keen on changing out to the big Oceànica. We've been pretty conservative in our sail plan thus far, and have been sailing all night with the small reaching sail that we have, and in fact the last few days. And it's only now that the wind is starting to get stably at 20 knots and not more that Nando is keen on putting up the bigger sails. Yeah, we've certainly got pretty different ideas about how hard to push, and certainly our comfort level, in the sense that I'm much more keen on holding the bigger sails for longer and taking turns steering, which isn't really Nando's style. So sometimes we do that for a few hours and then we'll go back to the smaller sails. But you know, that's how things are. He's the skipper. I'm a guest on board, and we need to sail in a way that keeps him happy and satisfied with the safety of the boat. It's fine. It's a pleasure to be at sea. The boat is a great boat, and we're making good progress. It's not my project, and it's not my place to say that things should be otherwise. I'm really enjoying this opportunity to be at sea and to go sailing with Nando. That's great. We can only make a calculation as to our comparative speed if we have other boats to play with. If we're able to get closer, then we can line up against some of the other boats. But if we're separated by hundreds of miles, yes, I have indeed. I went popped down to the salon, got a bit of a seeing too. I don't think that I did too bad of a job. Certainly not as bad as the poor teenager that normally cuts my hair. So it was pretty scenic too, because I was standing at the back of the boat and the wind was blowing 20 or...
We spoke with Konrad Coleman this morning on Spirit of Hungary. Spirit of Hungary have passed the Cape Verde Islands. In the northeasterly trades, the trade winds are diminishing for them very slightly. Indeed, as we spoke, you'll see Konrad talking to us, and Nandor Fa on the foredeck, starting to set up the bigger Jenaker, going back up to the lighter sail. Tended to sail on the Reacher a lot. He speaks about his relationship with Nandor, how he quite often wants to push harder. They have different comfort zones, but they're fairly well established now, I think, in terms of the relationship. Nandor is very much the skipper, and Konrad's view is that he's there to facilitate and to help Nandor as much as he can, and they just have to accept they have differences in terms of how they'll push just now. Now, of course, that may develop and evolve as they get into the Southern Ocean and the bigger challenges ahead. But meantime, they're in good form, making good speed, and approaching the doldrums and the equator. So 6th place and 7th place boats are in different hemispheres now. They've been close for the last few days, but we are water across the equator this morning at 7:15 UTC in a time of 13 days, 19 hours and 15 minutes from Barcelona. Pretty good going for the Garcia brothers, Bruno and Willie, on the boat which was formerly Estrella Dam. They're really getting to know the boat. They've had a nice period down through the northeasterly trades. Doldrums were difficult for them and for One Planet, One Ocean. One Planet, One Ocean should be coming across shortly, and they have a nice friendly rivalry. So the Garcia brothers have really got to know the boat quite nicely. They now take on the South Atlantic high pressure system and then going into the Southern Ocean together as brothers for the first time. They've had a pretty good race.
Hey Pepe, what are you doing?
We're checking the filter in the water maker because the water quality is not being really good in the last 2 days or 3 days. So
what do you mean by water quality?
Tastes a little bit salty. So.
And do you mind it or do I mind it?
Alex, you mind it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, it's got a bit salty, hasn't it? So you're checking the filter, make sure there's no crap in it.
Yeah. Everything looks good.
Is that good news or bad news?
It's bad news.
So if it doesn't get any better, then we'll be changing the water maker when the conditions get better.
Yes. For sure.
Oh, well.
Good morning. Today the leaders group is still sailing in the southeasterly trade winds. That means they have 20-25 knots of wind, and the boat speed is around 14, 15, 16 knots of speed, and they are sailing south in order to approach the center of the high pressure. Concerning Renault, Capture, We Are Water, and One Planet, One Ocean, they are also entering in the southeasterly trade winds, a bit less not so strong, and for Spirit of Hungary, 500 miles north of the equator. For him, the situation is still northeasterly breeze for 20-25 knots of wind. So he's gonna have a good gain south today, and let's see the situation for tomorrow. So the situation for Spirit of Hungary tomorrow will be entering in this light winds area. So it's going to be a bit more difficult for him tomorrow to have a good speed. Concerning the group between We Are Water, One Planet, One Ocean, and Renault Capture, they will be in a good easterly 15-20 knots of breeze, so it's going to be a good area for them. And concerning the leaders group, the big aim will be to catch this, because they will be around here, and the target will be to catch this northeasterly breeze in order to pass just under the high pressure. So let's have a look on what happened on Friday. Friday, the boat should be around here in this northeasterly breeze, and they will try to pass in between these two high pressure, and yeah, that's going to be the game for Friday.